here tonight to share with you our experiences of our son Thomas. Thomas was born 10 days overdue by emergency caesarean. It took 3 minutes to take his first breath and was born with no glucose in his system at all, known as acute infant hypoglycemia, both of which we found out later contributed to his deafness. He was a very ill little baby and had to be transferred to the intensive care unit at St Heli Hospital the next day. During the following week, we were told that almost every system in his body was having problems, and to expect long-term effects such as hearing loss and cerebral palsy amongst a long line of other things. I tuned out as the list went on and on. Fortunately though, his hearing loss is the only long-term effect he now has. Thomas failed his newborn hearing screen, and at 7 weeks old he is diagnosed with a severe to profound sensorineural hearing loss. This means the tiny hair-like cells in his cochlea were permanently damaged. We were in shock at this stage. I was completely surprised as I knew something wasn't right with him, but the shock of hearing this diagnosis out loud was overwhelming. We simply had no experience of deafness. All I knew was that deaf people signed. I kept thinking, I can't learn to sign. I'm too old to learn something so big. I don't want this. All I wanted was a baby. I don't want all these difficulties. It sounds so selfish, I know, all about me, that we were so scared about the future for our son and how he would cope in this harsh world. Thomas was fitted with his first hearing aids 2 weeks later, aged 9 weeks old. We were expecting him to suddenly start hearing us, even though we were told it doesn't work like that, not to test him, but we did. We soon realised that despite the hearing aids, he wasn't responding to any noise at all. It was very difficult for us to accept. It was just after this that we had our first visit from Thomas's teacher of the deaf. During that visit, she explained that while Surrey would support our choice to sign if we wanted to, they actively encouraged the children to learn to listen and talk first and foremost. I was shocked by this. It was the first I'd ever heard of an expectation that deaf children could be taught to learn to listen and to talk. But I knew straight away that that was what we wanted for Thomas. Consequently, we've never learnt any signing and instead went gung-ho into the natural oral approach. We talked to Thomas all the time. We sang to him all the time. Despite very little response from him, we kept at it. He learnt to watch our lips. He was a very attentive baby from a very early age. It was the same teacher of the deaf who told us about Delta. She encouraged us to go along to the summer school when Thomas was almost 9 months old. I've seen a few of his photos at the summer school up on the screen tonight. Well, those few days were a real turning point for us. We attended workshops and information sessions on so many topics, from music to education to listening to audiology. It was the most fantastic time for us to learn more. But most importantly, we were with other parents of deaf children. We had people nearby who understood what we were going through. We had deaf teenagers and adults speak to us, and all of those outstanding role models gave us hope for our own children's futures. We could see that it would be okay. One of the most amazing things about the Delta summer schools is the amount of professionals who give up their time to come along and volunteer their services. Teachers of the deaf, parents who have attended in the past, grown-up children who once went to a summer school. The overwhelming sensation we took away from those few days was hope. For Thomas's future, for his ability to listen and speak normally, and for us as a family. We've gone from strength to strength. I read that with early language intervention, deaf children can speak at an age-appropriate level by the time they start school. We were thrilled at that prospect, and I was determined that Thomas would be one of those children. So he started receiving intensive language input from a very young age, 4 months, actually, 4 months old. Lucky for him, he has a mother who likes to talk. Someone once said to me, just you wait until you're telling him to stop talking. And I thought, that won't be me. I'll be grateful he's talking. There's no way I'm going to ask him to stop. Well, how naive I was. It didn't take long before I heard myself saying, Thomas, you don't have to talk all the time. It's okay to sit quietly sometimes. But who am I kidding? He takes after me, he loves to talk, and hopefully that will never change. Thomas is now starting to identify himself as deaf. He has a lovely deaf peer group, and they all view themselves in a very positive way. We have a beautiful, happy, confident and chatty 4.5-year-old son. My husband Rob and I consider ourselves to be the luckiest parents on earth. The Thank you so much for supporting